over year. I will say this, the WNBA on ESPN networks only being up 16% year over year. Well, no wonder why they're only bragging about the Indiana Fever game.
4 million individuals. It's not a typo. That was the most amount of viewers for a WNBA regular season game in 2025, and it broke all previous cable records set by the league. Here's what makes the situation truly intriguing, though. She seldom received any promotion from the network.
And when we take a look, this current season, the most viewed WNBA games, you have the Atlanta Dream versus the Indiana Fever, the Chicago Sky versus the Fever, the Lynx versus the Fever, the Wings versus the Fever, and the New York Liberty versus the Fever. It's about time that the Indiana Fever dragged the Atlanta Dream
Network. Take a look at those top 5. One element unites every game, and it has nothing to do with the league's marketing budget. Whether the broadcasters want to acknowledge it or not, a single player is bringing entire franchises into prime time. The Atlanta Dream are currently at the bottom of the rankings after being drawn into the most viewed cable game in WNBA history. That's not typical. Unless something else is going on, that's not how sports
guard Caitlin Clark is the needle. Let's take a look at this article, shall we? WNBA Fever Dreams continue with new viewership records on ESPN and ION. Another weekend, another set of viewership milestones for the WNBA. Sunday's Fever Dream WNBA regular season game averaged 2.58 million viewers on ESPN, marking the largest WNBA audience of any kind on cable. The previous
television operates 12 games. 12 WNBA games have broken the league's all-time viewing records since 2000. Each and every one of them occurred within the previous 3 seasons. Caitlin Clark was involved with each and every one of them. There were 9 Indiana Fever games. She participated in 2 All-Star games. One was the draft in which she was chosen. The list included only the All-Star games in which she participated. Even with a 25-year sample size and a single name associated with each peak.
One that stirs the drink. That is the WNBA, the face of the league, no doubt about it. The WNBA, they may not want to promote her. ION might not want to promote her. NBC may not want to promote her. ESPN may not want to promote her. USA Sports may not want to promote her. But the fans have spoken, and they seem to know whether you guys want to promote her or not. They seem to know when Caitlin Clark's playing, what time.
You'll still hear individuals claim she isn't the cause of the data. Now, that 16% figure is the one that matters most, and is the one that no one is discussing. ESPN's overall WNBA viewing has only increased by 16% annually, not the 50% or 60% you would anticipate if the league as a whole were growing. This indicates that everything else is doing about the same as it did last year, possibly even better due to the spillover, while the Caitlin Clark games are completely blowing up. Only when the tide is truly rising everywhere will the rising tide theory hold true. It's not a tide.
To be fair, with the WNBA soon to pause for a 3-week break for the FIBA World Championships and the pro and college football season is about to start, ESPN has only one more regular season night after Tuesday, and it's more than a month away on September 22nd. This is an interesting point, because they're about to go for a 3-week break on the FIBA World Cup Championships. There's a lot of momentum right.
The entire harbor is observing this one boat that has a rocket strapped to it. A cable game's prior record was 2.5 million. It was a game in the playoffs. Caitlin Clark's first-round playoff run against Indiana in the first round. A playoff game was just defeated by a regular season game. The largest audiences in most leagues are driven by the intensity of the playoffs. This is a late August Sunday afternoon game with a sub-dash. More people watched the 502
million viewers on ION last Friday night, marking the largest WNBA audience ever on that network, which began airing games in 2023. That's a big number. Paige and Clark on ION getting 1.62 million viewers. That is a huge, huge number. Yet they still look you dead in your face and say Caitlin Clark isn't the reason why the ratings are as high as they are, the attendance isn't as high as they are, as high as it is, and the ladies got paid what they're getting paid now. They'll look you dead in their face and say,
team than the postseason. The player, not the stakes, is the only reason why people are watching. ION TV is not a big network. It's not ESPN. It's not ABC. It's not TNT. It has less than 2 complete seasons of experience with the league, having begun showing WNBA games in 2023. 1.62 million people watched a Fever Wings game on ION. That is the largest audience that the network has ever provided for the WNBA, and it is larger than the majority of games on the major networks that do not feature Indiana. One team schedule is causing a smaller platform with a
Game 2 in the first round of the 24 playoffs, Caitlin Clark's most recent playoff run. Indiana's win, which peaked with 4 million viewers in the 7:15 p.m. quarter hour, so what's that, the fourth quarter, was the 8th game this season to average
far smaller reach to set records. This indicates that the audience is actively seeking out particular games rather than accidentally finding them. This is the bit that ought to worry you. The broadcasters, networks, and league are still using hedging. The figures will be reported. They won't mention her name in the headline, but they will celebrate the records. The campaign will not be centered on her. That was already done for them by the supporters. The timetable was determined by the fans. Reminders are set
and delivered its most watched WNBA game ever. Atlanta Dream Indiana Fever averaged 2.6 million views with a peak of 4 million viewers. A 4 million viewed peak. I don't think if I've seen that yet in a WNBA regular season matchup during the Caitlin Clark era. I'm not sure if it's occurred before, but in the Caitlin Clark era, a 4 million peak? Outside the All-Star game, I'm not sure if I've seen a number get that.
They informed their pals. From the beginning, they elevated Caitlin Clark to the position of league face. The institutions are only now catching the wave that they neither created nor anticipated. In the quarter hour at 7:15 p.m. on Sunday, the game reached a peak of 4 million. The fourth quarter is that. People left after not tuning in at the beginning. As the game progressed, more people joined and they stayed. That's not a casual audience. That's television for appointments. With an average viewership of 2.58 million, millions of people watched the entire 60-minute game, not just the highlights. To put things in perspective, the 8-game
2.4 this year is probably like 2.1 last year. Probably like a high of 1.9 last year. So the numbers are still fairly high. Overall, the 12 largest WNBA audience since 2000 have occurred in the past 3 seasons, each involving Caitlin Clark. One more time. The 12 largest WNBA audience since 2000 have occurred in the past 3 seasons, each in
games this season that drew at least 2.4 million viewers on average are twice as many as the total of the previous 25 seasons. 3 months of Caitlin Clark created more big games than 25 years of WNBA basketball. There will be a 3-week blackout in the league soon. International competition, the FIBA World Cup break, and the NFL and college football seasons take over the sports media landscape. The Fever have won 5 straight games. People are referring to Caitlin Clark's current run as an MVP run. There is actual momentum. The figures are accurate.
Million viewed peak. I don't think if I've seen that yet in a WNBA regular season matchup during the Caitlin Clark era. I'm not sure if it's occurred before, but in the Caitlin Clark era, a 4 million peak? Outside the All-Star game, I'm not sure if I've seen a number.
And it will now cease for 21 days. The audience's return is more important than the league's. In sports, momentum is brittle, particularly during football season. You can't put it on hold and expect it to be there when you return. Let's discuss the true meaning of 4 million. Most national games during the NBA regular season draw between 1.5 and 2 million viewers on average. With a rookie in her first full season, the WNBA just reached a top of 4 million and an average of 2.6 million. That's not a narrative about women's sports.
Largest WNBA regular season audience ever on ESPN that did not involve the Clark era Fever. The lead-in from Caitlin Clark's game against the Atlanta Dream was so large, so many people forgot to change the channel after, that it was the highest game ever on ESPN in the non-Caitlin Clark, that didn't involve Caitlin Clark or the Indiana Fever. The ESPN family of networks, including ABC, were averaging 1.4 million viewers for WNBA games entering Tuesday's doubleheader, up 16% from last year.
That's a story about sports. One player altered what spectators anticipate when they watch a WNBA game, which caused the baseline to change. In a league that has never had must-see regular season television, she is not only excellent, but also a must-see. This is where the money comes in. Revenue, ratings, and attendance all move in tandem. This season, almost all of the Fever's home games were sold out. When Indiana comes to town, road arenas sell out. Every week, the viewership records keep rising. Caitlin Clark's debut season served as the proof of concept for the new media deals the league recently signed, which are tenfold greater than
the Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, as far as a matchup people want to see on TV, I was starting to think that lost its luster. And though it has definitely lost some of its luster, clearly it's still a game that people want to see. They also know that Caitlin Clark's been balling. She's on her MVP run. So I'm sure that helped people want to tune into the game. And I know everybody
previous ones. The players recently received a new CBA that includes greater pay, better travel, and better working conditions. Without the income increase, none of that would occur, and the ratings are necessary for the revenue spike to occur. The player who has participated in all 12 of the biggest games in 25 years is essential to the ratings. That top 5 list included the Chicago Sky versus Indiana Fever game. That's the rivalry between Angel and Reese, the collegiate plot that continued into the professional ranks, and it was effective for A.
Indiana Fever, the playoff, the MVP run, Sophie Cunningham. There's a lot of momentum in the WNBA right now. The question is, will any of this momentum slow down with the 3-week break coming up? Apologize if you can hear that. My neighbor's getting their trees cut. Good grief. ESPN was not the only network to set a record for a Fever game last week. Indiana's previous game against Dallas averaged 1.62 million viewers on ION last Friday night, marking the largest WNBA audience ever on that network, which began airing games in 2023. That's a big number. Paige and Clark on ION getting 1.62 million viewers. That is a huge, huge number. Yet they will still look you dead in your face and say Caitlin Clark isn't the reason why the ratings are as high as they are, the attendance isn't as high as it is, and the ladies got paid what they're getting paid now. They'll look you dead in their face and say it's not because of Caitlin Clark. Yeah, right.
While, although it produced actual figures, the Atlanta Dream's inclusion on this list suggests otherwise. There isn't any competition there. The story is not pre-existing. Dream is currently rebuilding. Despite not being a playoff team, they were forced to attend the most viewed television game ever since they were scheduled to play Caitlin Clark on a Sunday afternoon. Pure star power, that is. That's viewers watching a single player regardless of the opponent, the stakes, or the plot. That is the appearance of transcendence. Let's now deal with the big issue. Some will argue that it's unfair to give one person all the credit based on these figures. They will argue that other stars should also be acknowledged, that the league was already expanding, and that the investment was already taking place. Although there are more gifted players in the league, the statistics are accurate. One name is associated with the 12 largest audiences in the last 25 years. Without her, the games are performing 16% better than they did the previous year. With her, the games are performing 178% better. There isn't a rising tide there. That isn't growth for the entire league. Pretending differently is just disregarding what the stats are screaming at you. It is one player distorting the whole curve. Prior to this season, the Fever were not a lure for viewers.
Believe how bad Angel Reese is playing today. Yeah, she was wide open. Yeah. Oh, you were wide. She was wide open. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I can't. Yeah. I'm sure some of that went down as well, because once it starts going viral on Twitter, it really just takes like, oh damn, she missed that. Let me check it out. Whoa, damn. She started dodging shots that she's.
With a devoted local fan base and limited attraction on national television, Indiana was a mid-market team. They are now viewing appointments. One draft pick and a player with a sizable collegiate fan base that compelled the professional league to take notice make all the difference. She introduced casual sports viewers who had never seen a WNBA game before, in addition to her fans. Because the performance lived up to the billing, she retained the folks she brought in to check if the hoopla was genuine. Return to that video. The trees are being trimmed by the neighbors. He is still dissecting the data because they are so ridiculous, and he is apologizing for the noise. A Fever game recently attracted 1.6 million viewers on ION TV, a network that most people couldn't locate on their cable guides 6 months ago. Compared to some of the previous year's playoff games, that is larger. That is more significant than massive network contests. These days, it's essential to watch a Friday night game on a secondary platform. And the only reason that's true is that, regardless of where the game is broadcast, people are aware of when Caitlin Clark is playing. This is being learned in real time by the league schedule planners. Do you want a large number? Turn on the Fever. Do you wish to establish a record for your network? Turn on the Fever. Do you wish to increase awareness of a failing franchise? Add them to the Indiana game schedule. It's that stark and that easy. All the Atlanta Dream had to do was show up on the same court to receive more national attention from a single game than they had in the previous 3 seasons put together. The league has 3 weeks to consider this topic while on holiday. Since the fans have already made their decision, would you continue to act as though it is a team effort, or will you build around this? You already know what the audience wants based on the ratings. The only question remaining is whether the league's executives are prepared to acknowledge the reality of the situation and plan the next 5 years around it, or if they will continue to attempt to distribute the credit and hope that the momentum doesn't fade when football takes over in the fall. In late September, the Fever returned. The NFL will be in full flow by then. Saturdays will be dominated by college football, and the sports schedule will be extremely packed. You'll know this isn't an exception if the viewership, ratings, and momentum endure a 3-week hiatus before a head-to-head matchup with football season. You'll be able to tell it's real. You'll know the league isn't serious about continuing it if they continue to withhold her name after that. What are your thoughts? Are the WNBA still attempting to portray this as a team effort, or are they genuinely promoting Caitlin Clark as these figures suggest? If you've read this far, please hit the like and subscribe buttons and share your thoughts in the comments. In the next one, I'll see you.